This is my very, very late review of Strange Universe, the pulp style magazine written by some of my favourite YouTubers. I'm going to go through each of the stories in this pulp magazine. This is issue 1 of Strange Universe. And uh, But before I do that, I would like to talk about the art. The art is by Oscar Alonso. It's really colourful, eye-catching, sketchy, and it reminds me of some comic book art, but it also distinguishes itself away from that because it's very punkish and very cyberish and sci-fi, and it's like everything. It's like, I don't know if you've ever seen one of those pictures where it's just a bunch of robot Nazi zombie vampire things fighting each other and stuff with swords and samurais and ninjas, and it just says awesomeness underneath. If you were to take this picture and put awesomeness underneath it, it would fit perfectly. It's one of those pictures that are just like, whoa. It's just really cool. Now, we also have the Strange Universe logo. I really like this logo. I hope they keep this on each cover because it's kind of it's kind of like Star Warsy. It's kind of, universe. It kind of fits the font. The words fit the font, if you know what I mean. I hope this becomes their regular logo. Now on the back we have which kind of surprised me. We have a advert for the comic news with Duke of Eric. I watch this show weekly on YouTube.com on Duke Loop's channel, and we have my favorite poster of the comic news. I actually want this poster. I don't know where to get it, but it's Duke on one side and Eric on the other side, and it says comic news in the middle, and it's like they're drawn on. I might find a picture of it, I might not. But the only complaint I have with this, which is only a joke, it's not an actual complaint, because I can see why they didn't do this. But under where it says the comic news show, I wanted them to put sponsored by Mark Miller. If you don't watch the show, you won't get that joke. But yeah. Now I'm gonna go into the first story, which is written by James Logan, aka Captain Logan, and it's called 20 Again. Now, 20 Again is it's a very odd story. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. I don't want to lead you on and say that it was, not tell you what I thought of it before I get to the end. But I really enjoyed it, and it's the thing about this book is I've never really read anything quite like it, where it starts off and it's an interesting concept, and it's an interesting book, and it's about this guy who's trying to get his marriage back on track, and you can kind of see it working, and everything seems like it's going to work out, and there's a twist. Now, it's not a normal twist like you'd see. It's a very, up until the twist, everything's been normal, and it's a science fiction twist, but it's also got moral. It's kind of hard to explain. I don't want to spoil what the twist is, but it spins out everything in a way that something that wasn't science fiction-y would spin out. But because it's science fiction-y, it's all over the top. It's like over dramatizing something that could happen in real life. I'm not saying that they could clone someone in real life. I just give away something. But if like someone come who did remind you of your past, of what your wife used to be like and stuff. I am giving quite a bit away, but hopefully not enough that you won't enjoy the book when you read it. Now I'm going to move on to the next one, which is Ladybug, which is Ladybug Chapter 1, and this is written by it's Justin Cristelli. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Now this is Chapter 1 of a horror story. And it's really, the thing I like most about this book is that with a book, it's very different to a movie. You don't have the jump factor you do in a movie, so you have to work harder to really creep people out. And the thing that distinguishes horror books from horror movies is that movies can have the jump factor, and they can have zombies and vampires and stuff that scare you. But a book has to do stuff that a movie doesn't have to do. It has to keep you on the edge of your seat. It has to keep you very. I can't think of a normal word to. The closest thing I can think to describe it is uncomfortable. It has to keep you uncomfortable. If it's a horror book, it has to keep you uncomfortable, because then it engrosses you in the story, and you can really feel what these characters are feeling, and you can't feel it literally, but you can see what these characters are going through, because it's written in such a way that it makes you uncomfortable, but not uncomfortable as in you don't want to read it, uncomfortable as in you want to read it to see what happens. And it's very page turning. That's the only thing I could think of. And the things that happen to these four men, well, it's just quite creepy. It's a really good concept. It's original as far as I know. I can't really see it being taken from much stuff. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to chapter 2. Now the next one is my favourite one in the whole book. If I had a pick of the, I don't know what it would be, a pick of the chapters, would it be? I don't know. But my favourite story in this whole pulp book is definitely Tomorrow. Now, Tomorrow is a cyberpunk story. I've never really read a cyberpunk story. I've seen a lot of cyberpunk movies, like Blade Runner and so on, but I've never really read a cyberpunk story. And this is really, really good. This is one of the most interesting pieces of... I really don't know. This would work as pretty much anything. I think it works best in book form, but I think it would work as a comic. It would work as a mature animation cartoon. It would work as a manga, certainly. Not a manga. It would work as a anime, certainly. It would work as a movie, but I think it works best as a book because it's first person, so you can really see into the head. It does something that only books can do. You can really see into the head of this character and what he's thinking, without being long and drawn out, because it's a book. Now, it really establishes the universe that it's in. Now, let me just say, these, as far as I know, all these chapters have all these stories have nothing to do with each other. So the universe of Tomorrow is a completely different universe to everything else, and you can see that it's one of those universes like Star Trek and like Star Wars, and where it's a story based in a universe but the universe is so vast, and he's created this massive universe that you can write multiple stories. Multiple writers can come on and write multiple stories in this universe that has nothing to do with the story Tomorrow, but in the same universe, because it's such a vast universe. You have the golden city in the sky, you have all the concepts that he brings up about the experiments to get your free healthcare. There's a lot of moral issues that he tries to deal with in this book, but also, even if it didn't have all those things, which just makes it that much better, it would still be a very exciting and good book, because the characters are one of my favourite things about this book. It's one of the... So, I want to talk about the main character a bit, but there's not much to say. He's one of those characters that the writers come up with to display their own views, while also being a very interesting character in himself. I don't know if that's because the writer's an interesting person. I mean, I'm a fan of his YouTube, but the character himself is very... He's like, you want to know more about him. He tells you a bit about his past, but he's the type of character you really want to find out about him, and you really want to find out what his backstory is and everything. But then we also get his friend, Ma. Now, I'm not sure what the main guy's name is, I can't remember. But Ma is one of those people that every so often you get one of those people that you just think, you can't use a word to describe him other than badass. Ma is just the definition of badass. You can see that he takes a lot of inspiration from a lot of different characters to make Ma, but so much of it is twisted, and so much of it is his own stuff, that it's not really copying. It's just taking inspiration and changing and tweaking and modifying to make this ultimate character that is just so cool. Personality, powers, and just overall, he's one of the funniest characters I've read in a book. And if Eric was to write, after this is finished, a spin-off series where it's just Ma, I would buy that. But anyway, and then we get Mr. Incognito, which is the main bad guy. and he's really cool. I know Mr. Incognito sounds a bit odd, and it actually addresses that in the book, but I think it's a really, really cool name. I may be the only one on the planet that thinks that. Now we move on to the next story, which was, I believe, the Para-Usuals, I think it is. I'm not sure. I can't read. I'm stupid. But anyway, now this story, although not being as good as Tomorrow, Tomorrow was the best. It was really interesting, and it brings up. It's kind of, I don't know what. It's kind of a, I would say, paranormal genre, if that was a genre. It's rather. It's different. Again, a lot of these things that I read in this magazine are very different to what I've read so far. It's like a. Alright, the whole main story is based in this little room where this man is going and he's reading case files, and as he reads the case files, you read the case files, and it's like each individual one is a story. So I know this whole magazine is split up into 5 different stories, but then you have this one story that is split up into about 4 different stories, and each story is really, really cool. I especially like the alien one. They all, I'm not sure about the last 2, but the first 2 just take a twist on already well-known paranormal activity stories, like the aliens and the werewolf. But then we also get 2 very odd characters, and it seems that this person is assembling a team of paranormal monsters and aliens and everything, and you read up on all these people. Now, I'm not sure if this is non-going or not, but I really hope it is. I don't think it is. From what it seems, it's just a one-off story with a cliffhanger ending for effect. But I'd really like a sequel to come out of this where he does assemble the team. I wouldn't mind if there wasn't, but that would be really cool. And then we move on to the last book, which is The Father of Metal 1. Now, I read this entire book up to here, and I was really digging it. It was it was just really exciting. Each story was really cool and had its own twist. And then we get to The Father of Metal. Now, I don't want to be nasty. This is I've seen Mini Codrip's videos, and they're really cool. But this wasn't as engaging and page turning as most of the stories. Now, I guess you have to be a fan of this genre to like this story. I'm not even sure what genre it is, but it's very oldies and very like medieval time kind of concept. But I'm quite confused, really. I may go back, and after I read it again by itself without reading all the other stories, I may enjoy it more. But from what I read, it's okay. I would recommend picking it up and reading it yourself, because it may be a taste thing, it may just be me. But I personally, I enjoyed the other ones a lot more than I did. I'm not saying it's a bad one, I'm just saying, compared to the other stories in this book, it isn't up to the standard of them. Now, overall, the book is really, really good. It's really good for value. I got it for, I think, £5 with shipping. But I'm British, so the price may be different in America. I think you can download it for 99 pence or 99 cents. I don't know much about American money. It's really worth it. I would highly recommend, if you're a fan of one or more of these YouTubers, or if you're just a fan of one of the genres I mentioned, be it cyberpunk, the paranormal, horror, or kind of science fiction mixed in with real life. I highly recommend you pick this up. This hasn't been the best of reviews, I know, but I'm not a very good reviewer, but I really enjoyed this book, and I would really recommend anyone who'd like to sit down and read a couple of short stories that doesn't take up that much time to pick this up. There's not much I have to say about it. I will put a video out when I get issue 2. That comes out after Christmas, so that'll be quite a while. I'll see you guys, bye.